So today I'm doing a full account tour on my Honkai Star Rail account. We're going through everything, the characters, builds, relics, light cones, eidolons, teams, pretty much the important stuff. I'll be going through my entire roster, discussing how I built each character and my reasons for doing so, and the teams I use most often, and ultimately the amount of money I've spent doing so. I'll also be sharing my favorite characters and my opinions on those characters as we go, so if you enjoy seeing other people's content or this kind of thing in general, you're in the right place. Now real quickly, for anyone unfamiliar, Honkai Star Rail is a sci-fi turn-based RPG gacha style game developed by MiHoYo, the same developers of Genshin Impact, where players collect characters and the core gameplay revolves around team builds, farming gear, and attempting difficult in-game content through strategy and character investment. So let's get into it. So to start things off, here's the overall state of the account. I am Trailblazer level 70, of course, and I've been playing since about May of 2023. My current achievement count is 1099. Going over to the character roster, it's easier to show you who I don't have, which is at the time only 4 characters: Zhao Q, Yunli, Argenti, and Jade. I guess that's how you say his name.
Zhao Qi.
Anyway, as you can see here, this is the current banner, just so you can get an idea of when I'm recording this. And right here is the achievements I have. I'm not going to go through all of them, obviously. You can take a quick peek. I don't actively hunt for achievements, it's all just something that happens naturally. Alright, and let's jump right into the characters. First up is Casteress. She was the 2nd anniversary character. Extremely hyped, extremely powerful. I have her S1. So the reason I pulled her is just because of her animations, and she's just an extremely powerful character overall. And I have her eidolons maxed out, along with her alternate outfit they just released. So Casteress is a pretty controversial character because she introduced the first global passive, which just auto triggers on a character's death whether she's in battle or not. So a lot of people felt like it was a whale mechanic, and people who weren't willing to invest would lose out on that. Next up is Evernight, the March 7th retrain, where she unlocks her new form in the Inforius arc. I have her signature light cone S1. The reason I pulled Evernight is just because I really like March 7th as a character, so it's nice being able to use her in battle, even if it's an alternate form. And maxed out eidolons. Moving on to Cyrene. She was the final character for the Inforius arc, and she kind of enables all of the Chrysos Heirs characters. She is definitely one of my top 5 favorite characters, and one of my most heavily invested characters. I have her S5 signature light cone. I knew that once Cyrene was released, I was going to max her out, because she's just the culminating character for that whole arc, was probably the best part about this game so far. So E6, and I have her bow that came out when she was released. Next character is Hyacinth. She is also one of my top 5 favorite characters, and honestly, in my opinion, she is the best character in the game for multiple reasons. I have her signature light cone S5, max out traces. Here's her relic set. And Eidolon level 6. The massive 222 speed. The reason I believe she's the best character in the game is her damage output as a sustain unit. Pretty unmatched. And with the right teammates such as Casterus, Evernight, and even Mighty, she can do insane amounts of damage for a healer. Alright, moving on to Evanescia. She is the newest character released at the time of recording this. I have her S2 signature light cone. The reason I went for her S2 was just because her crit was pretty low, and her light cone was a good way to boost it up because I had bad gear. So I only have her E5. Unfortunately, I missed out on her E6 recently. She is also probably one of my favorite characters. I really like investing in her. She has some beautiful animations. She's a lot of fun to play. She's pretty funny in the story too. Next up is Ceridra, my favorite character, my #1 favorite character. It's her aesthetic, her personality, her chess theme. I like everything about her. It's unfortunate she was not as used in the story, however. The reason I didn't max out her light cone was just that it wasn't really necessary for her function as a character. The stat bonuses weren't really worth the investment for it. Despite being my favorite character, the reason I went all in on her is just because I felt she was going to be pretty rare. Most people probably were going to skip her because she was specifically focused on supporting Finon and later Anaxa.
Who's spreading gossip about me?
Moving on to Cypher. She is also one of my top 5 favorite characters, so I was trying to knock all those out first. I have her S1 signature light cone. I knew she was going to be a rare character just based on where she was released at with her banner. She was between, I think, Casterus and Finon, who were 2 highly anticipated characters, so a lot of people didn't get her, and I think still to this day she is the lowest owned character. Next up is Silverwolf level 999. She was the 3rd anniversary character, similar to Casterus. Another pretty controversial character because she also has a global cooldown. I liked her original form too, so that's why I invested in her, managing to get her E6 S5. Mighty is next, and he was actually the first character I ever got to E6. I did so because his E6 is actually probably the most broken in the game, just based on his playstyle, where he just enters the battle in his full berserk mode. He's great as a character. He reminds me a lot of Vegeta from Dragon Ball Z, except he doesn't get folded like Vegeta does. And he's the #1 character I have set on my character profile, and he's earned me millions of credits from my friends list borrowing him for farming relics. Moving on to Yao Guang. She's the newest support for the Elation archetype. I found it really bizarre they released her first, and she was a support for them, and she was the first one released. It's like if they released Cyrene first before any of the Chrysos heirs. But she's amazing in gameplay, and she really enables the Elation archetype. Going on to Finon. He's a fun hypercarry unit. Story-wise, he's also the first character you meet in Emphorius, which is funny because I thought he was just going to be a generic, no-name, like 4-star character, but that turned out not to be true. On his initial release, I got him to E2, and then on his rerun, I managed to get him to E4. I enjoy using him mostly because I get to use Ceridra. She's his best support. Going to Firefly, originally released in the Pinaconi arc. When she was first released, I got her E2. She was a strong break support because that's what all of Pinaconi was pretty much based on, was break. And eventually she got a Nova Flare when the Dahlia came out as well, and I ended up getting her E6 because she became extremely powerful. And speaking of the Dahlia, I invested in her just because they brought Break back, which was still extremely powerful, especially with the Firefly buffs, and combined with her, the Dahlia is an enabler for break, so she makes them extremely powerful and potent, especially in the in-game content. Plus, I like Dahlia for other reasons. Next is the crossover character, Saber. I've seen a bit of the Fate Stay Night anime series, so I was aware of her. She's a very unique character where she just spams her ult, and the whole core gameplay of her is just to regenerate her energy, which was pretty unique until Evanescia. She plays the exact same way for Elation. Next up is Sparksy, the Sparkle retrain. She's a major sub DPS for the Elation archetype. So Silver Wolf level 999 and Evanescia. She has a very fun playstyle where she spams her skill, which also generates punchline for other Elation characters. The last of what I would call my heavily invested characters is Aglaya. She's a speed-focused hyper carry unit, and I believe she was the first Chrysos era character released. Still to this day, she has a very unique playstyle. I just wish she was a lot better than she is, but I still enjoy using her a lot. Alright, so these next set of characters are the ones I would consider I kinda invested in. Tribby I should have invested in more. She's extremely powerful and probably the best support in the game, and I think she has the best E1 in the entire game. Jinglu I got when she first released. She was one of my favorite characters. She fell off extremely hard, and then when they Nova flared her, it changed her playstyle, and I just never re-geared her. Sparkle, I missed like her first 2 releases. I ended up getting her when Sparksy came out, because she was the best support for Sparksy at the time. High Ceilings came out when Kafka got her Nova Flare. She is a enabler for the Dot archetype. She's extremely powerful too. I like her as a character, especially because she was always paired up with Ceridra. I just never invested in her more because Dot as a archetype is pretty flawed. Asheville came out not too long ago. He's a hunt unit. Hunt is extremely bad in this game, being primarily single target, so I didn't invest in him too much. I did get lucky and get his E3, but I did not go for it. Next is Acheron. She was the best DPS in the game for a long time. I never built her properly, so she was never that good for me. But she is a fan favorite character of the game. Next is Sunday. So I missed Sunday on his original release. I ended up getting him when Inforius dropped. I got him so I could play Aglaya because he was her best support. I did manage to get him to E4 just because he probably is still one of the better supports in the entire game. Next is Anaxa. I skipped him on his initial release. I got him on his rerun just because he was another good DPS to use with Ceridra, so I just got him as an excuse to use her more. But I never built him properly, so he's very bad. Black Swan I also missed on her initial release and got her on her Nova Flare re-release, getting her to E2. Next is Fugue. I got her so I could use her with Firefly upon her initial release. She's another good support for Break. She was the best support until the Dahlia came out. And finally, Blade. I got him on his initial release for E2. He was one of the best DPS very early in the game. He fell off extremely hard, and since then I've managed to get him in the free pulls, getting him to E5. Okay, these next set of characters I'm going to call my Yolo Pulls. So I didn't really go after any of them specifically. I was either just throwing the free pulls from the game and just, was lucky enough to get them. So they're all characters I have, but they either have bad gear or low eidolons if they have any at all. A lot of these characters had meta relevancy at very early points in the game, such as Luocha, who's a great healer, but he has no damage output, so he kind of got power crept. Jing Yuan was kind of the first prototype of a remembrance character, but he also had the weird follow-up with the Lightning Lord, so he kind of just was never good. Kafka is a fan favorite. I do have her built. She is actually really good after her Nova Flare, and I do enjoy playing her a lot. The Herda is also another pretty good character. I only managed to get her to E1. Her gear is not very good, but I do use her to farm relics and materials. Boot Hill I got on a YOLO 10 pull. I got him on the first 10 pull and then never rolled for him again. I think he's just bad because he's a single target, whereas Firefly and Rappa are multi-target. Rappa's really cool. I enjoy her a lot. I just invested in Firefly instead of her. Adventurine is a very good sustain, but just like Luocha, he doesn't really do anything else. He doesn't do a lot of damage, but he will keep your characters alive. And Don Hong, same thing as Boot Hill. I got him in a YOLO 10 pull, got him in the first pull. I never had Sparkle, so he was always really bad for me to use. The next set of characters are the free characters, the ones that the game gives you or from the 5-star store. First is Topaz. She's terrible gameplay wise, however she is excellent on the overworld map because her pet can locate treasure chests for you, so it's good to have her as your active character. Next is Archer, the other Fate collaboration character along with Saber. I never had Sparkle when he was released, so I only got him recently once I got Sparkle, but I don't use him at all. Next is Donghong PT. He was given away for free. He's an amazing shield character. He also buffs damage and does a lot of damage himself with his Soul Dragon follow-up, so it's crazy they gave him away for free. Ron Mei is next. She's an amazing general support, but she got outclassed by a bunch of characters who were better in specific roles than her. Alright, next is Hua Hua. She's a great buffer healer. She's not the best healer because she heals quite a little bit, so keeping party members alive is kind of hard with her, but she also recharges energy with her ultimate, so she's good overall. Robin, another great support, just like Sunday. I didn't get her until she was released in the 5-star store, so I'm actually still building her, but I do plan on using her a lot because I think she's really good overall. Next is the Elation MC. They're kind of in a weird place because they're built kind of a cross between a sub DPS and a support, but they don't do either very well. So I believe it's a step down from the Remembrance Trailblazer, but they're still really good overall. Finally are the standard banner characters. I won't really talk about any of these specifically too much except for two, which is Welt and Zila. They both just recently received Nova Flare, so I'm in the process of building Welt to try him out. And Zila is pretty good in certain modes, but she's still too weak to actually compete in most of the in-game content. A side note about Gepard, he was actually my first 5-star character ever. Most of these characters are extremely bad, with the exception of Silver Wolf, who's now a standard banner. She's alright. She's a good debuffer. And a side note about Clara, isn't it weird that the two counter-based characters are both little girls with no shoes on? Like, what is up with them?
You up for the game? Her? Right for the shoes, twin. Oh, it's one? Hey. Dirty feet ass.
Alright, so the last thing I want to talk about is the teams I use for all the in-game content. So the first up is what I call the meta, which is the caster's team with the Evernight sub DPS, Cyrene as the support, and Hyacinth as the sustain. I think this is my strongest team just because they're all E6 and half of them are S5. Extremely powerful, and they can pretty much zero cycle everything in the game since they came out and still currently to this day. Next up, I call Peak Elation, which is the new Elation meta with Sparksy, Silver Wolf, level 999, Yao Guang, and Hua Hua. So Sparksy is there to generate punchline for Silver Wolf, and she's the big damage dealer, and Yao Guang is the buffer for both of those two. Next is the Finon Hyper Carry with Saridra, Cyrene, and Don Hong. All of them are designed to just buff Finon until he goes into his Caslana form and just spams Meteor. Next is the Super Break with Firefly. You could swap her out for Rappa or even Boot Hill. Dahlia is the enabler, which allows you to super break without actually breaking an enemy. Fugue is a good support, and then Lingsha is a break sustain unit. Next is my Acheron team. Not very good because Acheron herself isn't very good anymore, but I like to use her with Cypher. Well, I'm experimenting with them. I'm still building them. And of course, Don Hong PT as the sustain. Next is a follow-up team with Ashvale, Triby, Cypher, and Don Hong PT. All of them have follow-ups, but Hunt itself isn't very good because it's a single target focused path. But everyone else is pretty good. Next is Dot with Hycealins, Black Swan, Kafka, and Hua Hua. So ever since Black Swan's Nova Flare and her Arcana stacks, she's actually very powerful. Kafka to detonate the dots and Hycealins to implant them. So pretty solid team overall. Next is my Mighty Most team, or Mighty. Some people would probably use Sunday with Saridra. Saridra actually works very well with Mighty, especially with him being E6. So it's sometimes it's hard to time her skill with Mighty's Godslayer punches. So since he's E6, it happens a lot more frequently, so it's not too bad. Next is my Aglaya team. Again, Aglaya is not very good, but I do enjoy using her, and I've practicing with Robin just to see how she fits in there. And of course Sunday, which is her best support, and Hua Hua, who helps Aglaya regenerate energy. Next is the Erudition team with Herta, Anaxa, Cypher, and Don Hong. So Herta is probably the big damage dealer. Anaxa likes to implant weaknesses on enemies. Cypher is a overall debuffer, which helps boost those two's damage. And then Don Hong can do damage, and he's also a great sustain for them. Next is the Saber team. I like to use Triby with Saber just because Saber spams ultimates, and then that triggers Triby's follow-up. And then of course Sunday is her best support just because he action advances her and boosts energy, and same for Hua Hua. And finally is the main Elation team I like using currently in the current patch with Evanesia, the Elation Trailblazer, Yao Guang, and Hua Hua. So it's pretty much designed to hyper carry Evanesia. And the last thing I want to talk about is just the different in-game modes and kind of where I'm ranked right now. So with the Anomaly Arbitration, I've zero cycled all of them. It only goes back to 3 right now, but as you can see, I'm showing them all. My Memory of Chaos, I zero cycled with various teams. With Pure Fiction, I always get the max score. I think this is the easiest mode. And lastly, Apocalyptic Shadow, which I think is the mode that requires the highest character investment. It's pretty difficult to max the score out at 8,000. And now, before I end the video, there's probably one final thing people are curious about: the total amount I've spent on my account. Now, to be clear, this is an estimate based on going back through my bank history, purchase history, the top-ups, battle passes, monthly passes, packs, and all the other little purchases that slowly stack up over time. Since around the time of starting the game, my estimated total comes out to roughly between $17,670 to $18,500, and that is in USD. And hearing that number out loud is honestly a little surreal, even for me. Spending usually doesn't feel that massive in the moment. It's small purchases here and there, a top up during a banner, going a little harder for a favorite character, trying to get certain eidolons, light cones, but over the months and years it adds up extremely fast. Do I regret it? Honestly, not really. There are definitely characters and moments I genuinely enjoyed, and this account has given me a lot of entertainment and memories, but at the same time, seeing the full number altogether really puts into perspective just how expensive gacha games can become if you aren't careful. I never want people to look at accounts like this and feel pressured to spend money they can't comfortably afford. At the end of the day, no character or account is worth putting yourself in financial stress. Still, for better or worse, this is the account after all this time, investment, luck, bad luck, and questionable decision making. And honestly, despite everything, I've had fun with it. And with that, that's pretty much the full account tour. I'd really like to hear about your accounts in the comments. Who's your favorite characters right now? Which character have you invested the most into? And what's your biggest account regret so far? Whether that's a pull, a skip banner, or a character you built and never touched again afterwards. I'm also curious what characters you think are underrated, overrated, secretly broken depending on the mode. Feel free to share builds too, because honestly, I always find it interesting seeing how different people optimize their characters and teams. And if you completely disagree with some of my opinions or rankings, honestly, that's okay. Everybody values different things in characters, whether it's meta strength, lore, animations, gameplay feel, appearance, or just pure bias. But yeah, thank you for watching the video, and hopefully you enjoyed the tour, or at least imagining the pain of me having to look through my bank statements. Good luck on your future pulls, and see you guys next time.
All done.